Hello, hello, everyone. This is Jesse with Sacred Kitchen, and I am here bringing some awesome tidbits of global deliciousness into your kitchen. And I have my friend Chef Mimi on the line. Hey, Chef Mimi, say what's up.
Hey everyone, thank you for having me, Jesse.
So glad that you're here. So glad that you can make it. Today we are going to be making what are we making? This is your recipe. Why
Today
don't
we're
you
making
start?
sweet vanilla yams. And
Sweet.
the thing about this dish, which is really wonderful, is that it's not loaded with sugar, and it's bringing out the natural sugars in the yams, and it's just a really yummy recipe that I got from my grandma from spending time with my grandmother, and it's just something that I made into a vegan dish, and I'm so happy that you're making it, and we're gonna do it together.
Yeah, awesome. So, if you'd like to join us, we have a full vegan menu happening on Friday for our cooking class. We're doing vegan mac and cheese with some deep fried tofu and homemade gravy. It's going to be awesome. So, join us for that if you'd like. And we're going to start right now. I've got a couple different kinds of yams because I wanted to try all the different ones to see what happened. And Chef Mimi is just going to walk me through the process here. So, I've got a pan on kind of like a medium-ish heat. I've got my oven preheated. And what's next?
So the next step is to go ahead and take the skin off of the sweet potatoes. And while you peel the potatoes, one of the good things about potatoes is that um, they have the natural sugars within them. And so what we're going to be doing after we peel them is that we're going to saute them, well, not saute them, but pan sear them to bring out those sugars. Yams are one of my favorite things to cook. The root of the word yam comes from Africa, and they're indigenous in Africa and also in Asia. And so, with the yams, they have lots of beta carotene. They're just naturally sweet. They're so delicious. And I usually like to prepare this dish with the garnet yams. They have the most darkest flesh.
Yeah,
So they're
those are like
really, yeah, bright
bright
orangey.
orange ones. So let me just ask you a couple quick questions so I can keep this moving along. How thick do I cut this? Like maybe the width of my finger?
2 inches, about a little bit, yeah, about the width of your feet. So like 2 inches.
Like so big, so quite big.
No. That's not 2 inches. Like there, right there. Yep.
Like that. Now, if I want to leave the skins on, can I try it with the skins on?
Yeah, you can definitely try it with the skins on. And I noticed that you part cooked yours a little bit. So just for people that are cooking at home, um, that is also something that you can do. But this recipe is definitely intended for you to be able to just cut it up and put it right into the pan.
And
Um,
the reason I part cooked it is so that you all can see a finished product nice and quick style.
yeah.
So this should allow me to shorten the time in the oven. There's some good reasons why you would want it to be in the oven a little bit longer. It's going to continue to create that condensing of the sugars that Chef Mimi's talking about. Um, but that's another reason. Is there a reason to take the skins off versus leave them on one way or the other?
I mean, it's definitely a preference. So if you prefer to go ahead and make yours with the skin on, that's fine. I prefer to take the skin off, but nutritionally, I mean, it's just as good with the skin on.
Yeah, and one of the things, I'm gonna just get real creative here. I'm gonna just cut this one down the middle because it's about the right thickness to do that, and so we'll see what happens. I like the contrast of colors between the burgundy on the outside and the bright orange, and so
Mhm.
we'll see how that goes. So now I'm doing this with olive oil. Can I use another oil?
You
What?
can use butter, clarified butter. You can use, olive oil. You can use vegan butter.
So
Um,
this is a vegan butter called Myokos that I totally love, and so that would be something we'll use that later in the class. I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil in the moment. I'm going to be generous with this and just drop them in, huh?
Yep. Make sure your pan is nice and hot. You're going to keep it on medium. Now, because you do have 3 different types of potatoes, they're going to cook a little bit different. The sugars are going to come out differently. The purple as opposed to the orange.
Yep. Yeah, they'll come out. They
Lighter
may
flesh. You're gonna, it's gonna cook differently. So you want to make sure you kind of keep an eye on it.
and they'll cook at different times too.
Cook at different times. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely a thing to be aware of.
Yeah. So this right here is a really, this is definitely your rendition of my recipe. This is not my recipe, but it looks good.
She's like, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
No, there's really no way, no like wrong way when you're cooking. It's all like someone else's style or however I mean, it's supposed to be fun. So, cooking for the holidays, it's not supposed to be stressful. Like you got to just follow everything, to the T. So yeah, so whatever that you like, if you like the skin on, go ahead and keep the skin on. If you don't, take it off.
When Chef Mimi and I were talking about doing all this stuff together, we were talking about writing recipes and how writing recipes is not the native skill set for some of us, especially some of us. And Chef Mimi is getting a real life lesson in like, but I'm like, but I want to try it this way. She's like, that's fine. It's just not my food. Don't call it my food because it's not my food.
What's so funny is like, chefs learn from each other. So it's really, really cool to, see like you make something different and use the recipe in the way that that feels comfortable to you.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the Friday classes is I get to show up as a learner and be like, how are you doing this? What are we doing here? I'm confused. How does this work? Like, what are we doing? And it's fun that way. So talk to me about this compound butter. Now we're doing vegan food, so I'm going to use my Miyoko's. And I think what I need, I'll show you this real quick, but I think what I need here is I need a little bit more time on these to I want some color on there, right?
Yeah, why don't you crank up the heat a little bit?
Cool. And the way my burner is, I may need to just move it around a little bit too.
Yeah. So like I said, with that, you're going to get more sugars coming out of the ones that have more of a darker flesh, as opposed to the whites. That's why I don't really like to use the white potatoes as much, for that reason. Especially because also too, when you're adding the compound butter and the honey and stuff like that, you have to add a little bit more on the ones that don't have as much sugars in them. So what you're gonna do with the butter, just cut one. That's good, because that's kind of like 2 cubes mixed together. So you're gonna use 1/4 of the cube. Go ahead and put it in your pan, and you want to make sure that the butter is nice and soft. And because you're going to mix it with your other ingredients. So that normally happens.
I hit this with a little salt too, just to start getting it salted. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. What we do is we actually salt at the end, but if you want to salt at the beginning, that's fine.
Why do you salt at the end? Is there any specific reason that you salt at the end?
It just brings out the flavor for me. And you don't have to put as much salt because you're not losing the salt in the pan. So for me, it's all about, creating a healthier dish, and, keeping the flavor and putting less salt and less sugar.
Chef Mimi's all about the health and I'm all about the fat and the salt. So we're trying to meet in the middle here a little bit.
Well, the good thing about it is that with the salt, if you put it on before, then it's pretty much the same amount. You're just going to lose some of the sugar in the pan. So putting it on after is actually going to give you the salt flavor that you want.
This is more like what I'm looking for right here, right?
Yeah. That's what you're looking for.
Okay, cool. And so I don't know if you can see this, but that looks very different on a purple potato. I don't know if you could see it in the light
Yeah.
well, but you can still see it if you're in person, maybe not on the Zoom flow.
Yeah,
But
I haven't done this with purple potatoes. I haven't done this particular dish.
I got to tell you, doing this, I do a very similar dish. I do it with with the Asian meals, and I do a little bit of black and white sesame. And I basically par cook the purple potatoes, and then I sear them in coconut oil. And it's like the favorite new thing that I've come up with in the last year. So I highly recommend it. I haven't seen these Japanese purple potatoes except for in the last year or two, and their flavor and the starch content, the way it all works is like, I'm kind of a garnet yam guy usually. And these are maybe even better. So,
I make a really cool mashed potato with the purple potatoes. So
I
I do a tricolor mash. So I take all those same colors and pipe them in a bag and pipe them out.
Yeah, I
so
love it.
cool.
I love that. That's great. Beautiful little canapé that would make too. So, chef, we're gonna do two things. I've got this compound butter working. You're gonna tell me what I need to do with it, and then you're gonna tell everybody else what you're up to, because you are like rocking in the free world, and I want people to know who you are and what you're up to, because you're totally rocking it. But first, help me out with this compound butter.
Okay, so you have the butter, and it looks like you kind of whipped it in some type of way.
Yeah, it's nice and
so
soft.
now it's nice and soft. So go ahead and add your nutmeg and your cinnamon. So normally when people are making these yams, they layer their yams in nutmeg and sugar and butter. So with this dish, we are flavoring it like right before we put it to the table. And so we're gonna get a lot of bold flavors. It's gonna taste super good because it's not like super baked in. It's like the flavor is gonna pop right in your mouth as you start serving it.
Awesome.
So
sounds like I'm in a place where I could maybe put these. They got a good little fry. I can just put these in the oven, right?
You sure can. So if you're using a cast iron skillet, you can go straight from skillet to oven. If you're using a regular pan that's not, oven friendly, then go ahead and put it on a sheet pan. But for now, go ahead and just stick that straight into the oven. Is that a convection oven? Little convection oven?
It does have a convection function on it. It does, yeah. Which is nice because it kind of bumps it up a little bit. But if you're using the convection function at home, you just need to be aware that that it can go a little fast. Right. So now another thing just reminds me, all of this work that we're doing, I think actually, honestly, Chef Mimi and I share a passion for creating delicious, incredibly flavorful, fresh, and very healthy food. And so one of the things that she's talking about is you're adding these fresh spices right at the last minute. And I'm also going to go with whole spices because this is going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to add it at the end, which is going to bump it up. And we're going to use whole spices that are freshly ground, and that's going to bump it up a notch too. So we're creating like these little stair steps of flavor so that it's like, yeah, it's just a little bit, it's one little step, but when you actually eat it, all those little steps, yield the people who are eating it being like, oh my God, what is this? Like, what? So
I really love that too. And for those at home who don't have this wonderful blender that he has, which is more commercial style, you can just take your cinnamon sticks and use a grater and just grate it right into the butter. Or if
you've got a little coffee grinder,
if you have a coffee grinder, you can use that as well.
A spice grinder, you can use that. And I love what you're saying, because I'll show people how we can do that. A Vitamix is an incredible spice grinder. Pardon the loud noise. What I didn't tell Mimi, because I was being sneaky, is that I also don't have any powdered cinnamon. I only have fresh. So
it's all good.
So I'm just
Um,
gonna take, what am I looking for? A teaspoon here, just a little bit,
yeah,
right?
so just put a teaspoon right into the butter.
So what she's saying is you can take a little grater like this or a microplane, and you can just literally just shave a little bit of this, cinnamon right in there. And I'm actually going to do that with nutmeg. Watch your knuckles. But I'm going
And
to
the
do
great
that.
and the great thing about what you're doing is you're bringing out such amazing aromatic flavors from using it straight from the root, which gives it a total different flavor.
The difference between a nutmeg cluster, nutmeg, I don't know what this is called, seed. Um, the difference between this and the little prepackaged McCormick like thing that you get in the store is like they're not the same thing.
Right.
I mean, if you've got the stuff use it. It's great.
Yeah.
But this is amazing. And if you want some of these, come over to my house because I have too many. Like an
I
embarrassing.
need some. I'll be over to grab some.
You come over. I got cardamom. I got nutmeg. I'm used to cooking at scale, Mimi. So I've got chai fixins for like 800 people at my house.
Okay.
Oh, so we got plenty for you. You come on over.
Okay.
All right. So a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of nutmeg, a little bit of vanilla, right?
Yes, a little bit of vanilla. So you can use, straight vanilla bean. You can use vanilla extract. I think that the vanilla extract works a little bit better in this dish because it adds a little bit more moisture and just kind of rounds out the flavor.
And how do I know? And how much? Like a couple of drops?
I would use a couple of tops.
Tops.
Yep.
So you're looking for a strong vanilla flavor here.
Yep. You want it to be strong.
That's what they call vanilla yams.
Yep.
All right. I like it.
Vanilla
Okay.
is the star of the dish.
Vanilla is the star of the dish. We've got accents of cinnamon and nutmeg and the sweetness, the natural sweetness. Now, am I adding honey to this or am I adding honey to the yams? What's happening?
You're adding the honey to that. So you're going to add about a tablespoon of honey.
See, I told you I like to cook at scale. So I've got this little bit of honey right here.
I see. It looked like you went to the beekeeper and got the honey.
That's the biggest change for me is now I'm just cooking for, just cooking for show.
Right.
Since the pandemic. So this is a very different
you.
Vibe for me.
Right. I'm in the same space. I'm used to cooking for lots of people. So to go straight to this, virtual space, it's been good. It's a whole nother way of connecting to people and being able to connect to so many people. I've connected to people all over the world. And so that's been an interesting dynamic because usually when you do events, you might have 400 or 500 people go to an event, but doing these online, you might have a couple of thousand people from all different areas and regions, and you're able to connect with a lot of different people.
So tell us, so I've got this mixed up right here. I'm going to taste it. I'm tasting it for salt. I'm tasting it for sweet. What am I looking for here?
If it doesn't taste sweet enough, go ahead and add a little bit more sugar. It all depends. I mean, a little bit more honey. It depends on what you like.
It tastes good is what it tastes.
Yeah, you can use that on your bread, like as you have it left over, you can add it to some French toast.
I'm gonna make some vegan cornbread. I'm gonna put this little vegan honey butter on that cornbread. That's what I'm talking about. That's gonna be outrageous.
Yeah.
Excited about that. I think I can use a little pinch
more
cinnamon.
Add a little bit more. You can add a little bit more cinnamon, a little bit more nutmeg. Because mine looks like it doesn't look as white. Like I have a lot of that looks good. I have a lot of cinnamon, a lot of the flavoring in there. And if you want to add a little bit of salt, if you feel like you need a little bit more salt content, just to kind of bring out the flavors, because we didn't put a lot of salt in the yams, you can do that there. But we will salt at the end.
We can also salt the yams at the very end, and that's actually not a bad thing because you'll get a little bit of like that saltiness on the.
Now you know. Okay, so now you're saying what I just told you. Exactly.
Well, okay, so here's my theory of salting, and I'm learning that there's a lot of different theories. I didn't know there was different theories. That's the funnest thing about this whole cooking show is I get to talk to all these chefs and we do things differently. And I learn how I'm doing stuff wrong and haven't thought about things right. Um, but I was taught to salt at every step of the cooking process.
Mhm.
Salt at the beginning, salt in the middle, salt at the end. Not over salt. You don't want to
Yeah.
over salt, but just a little bit here. And I think there are many things that are good to do that with. And I think that I maybe interpreted it as a general rule. And maybe there are some things like you're supposed to salt potatoes at the end because the salt pulls out the liquid. So if you salt them first, they don't come out as crispy.
Yeah.
I just learned
So
that.
you can, yeah, I mean, I think like you said, there's no like one rule. You can, like, meat is a total, like different meats are going to be salted at different times. Like they say, don't salt, steak and stuff before because it loses its water content. You salt it after. But some people, I like to marinate, and I'll have some salt. It also depends on how long you're gonna let the meat sit in a marinade, or how long it's gonna sit with the salt on it. And so it's just so many variables. It's like, just do what you feel works for you and tastes good for you, and
Exactly. It's all
and
about freedom and fun. So,
exactly.
so, so, Chef, I know you've got to run. I've got these beautiful seared potatoes here that are all,
I can do 5 more minutes if we want to keep it.
that are all put on here. And is this what you would do, or would you bake
So the
them?
first thing I would do is I need to know that it's cooked in the middle. Is it feel
It's soft.
it's
Perfect.
soft? Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry about that.
That's part of the reason I par cooked them. Again, that's not Chef Mimi's recipe. You just throw them right in the oven if you're doing them the right way. But I wanted to show you how to get them done quick. So I just par cooked these because I wanted to make sure that we didn't lose Chef Mimi on the phone. My yams are not done yet. My orange ones aren't done yet. I can just tell by poking at them, they're still a little bit hard. But I've got these purple ones that are pretty. Now, am I just garnishing these on the plate? Or yeah, what's my process here?
So it looks like so this recipe that you're following is actually a very, very fast recipe. You should be able to cook this in under 20 minutes. It looks like you're plating it pretty well. So now you're just making sure everything is soft and that you wrung out the sugars in the
Yep.
dish. I really like to put the butter in the pan on top. I take the potatoes and I put it in the pan, and then I put the butter on top and then transfer it to the plate.
Got it. So they get a little melty.
Yeah, so they can get a little melty, so you can keep
Got
the
it.
warmness from the pan.
Got it.
So it
Very,
should drizzle like right on top of it.
very
Yeah.
I love it. So Chef, tell us what you are up to that you are teaching thousands of people on Zoom calls. We got to know. What are you doing?
So yeah, so I'm my name is Chef Mimi, as Jess said from the beginning, and I have a boutique catering company that was in full effect. We did catering and events, and coming off of February, just with a full, packed month of events, and then boom, here comes COVID-19 March, and so we started figuring out what we wanted to do. Got a call from Google and was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know." And they're like, "Can you do some virtual cooking classes?" So we started doing that, and I just basically because was already catering in the tech space, I've already had made lots of relationships with tech companies. So I just started doing the same thing of what I was already doing in terms of bringing food in and just actually doing actual virtual cooking classes. And so that's what I've been doing over the past what is it? I don't even know how long the pandemic's been going. What, 6 months, 7 months?
6 months.
Yeah. And then I am one of the brand ambassadors and chefs for Impossible Foods, a plant-based company. Pretty excited about that, to be the first Black woman, and yeah, and also a woman chef. And so we have a campaign that's getting ready to come out in November. And so doing some stuff for magazines, writing for magazines, and have some articles coming out soon. You can follow me on my website at The Chef Mimi. The biggest thing and my biggest accomplishment is the Black Food and Wine Experience and bringing it to the table show. The Black Food and Wine Experience is the largest food and wine festival that is catered to the story and the lens and the culture of Black chefs and winemakers and people in the cocktail spirit world. And so I've been lucky to be able to expand that brand, starting with 100 people in Industrial Kitchen in Emeryville to having over 750 people attend our last event. And we're scaling the event for 2021. We're going to create this event and make it COVID safe. There's going to be conversation. We're going to add an industry day where there's conversation and a shared space to talk to Black entrepreneurs and allies at the Battery. And so we also have a chef in residence at the Battery, as well as you. And so there's just a lot of great things coming down the line. If you want to connect and attend the Black Food and Wine Experience for 2021, you can pre-register for free at on our website at thechefmimi.com. And it's just going to be, everything that I'm doing is all about, liberation and the experience that has to do with us and our community and coming together just so that we can, explore opportunities within the food and wine space. So I appreciate you having me come on. I can't wait till Friday so that we can get down with some vegan soul food.
That's right.
Yeah.
So anything says Oakland more than vegan soul food.
Right.
That's hella Oakland.
Right.
That's vegan soul food. That's hella Oakland.
Right. Well, we started the whole vegan soul stuff in Oakland, like Oakland, Berkeley, Bay Area. Before everybody started back in the 80s and 70s, we were already on.
So Chef, I just want to pause you for a moment. I know you got to go. Super grateful for your time. IamChefMimi.com is the website. And
no, it's thechefmimi.com.
The Chef Mimi. I'm sorry, thechefmimi.com.
Yeah, and on Instagram, it's I am Chef Mimi.
There we go. That's why I was confused. And just in case you were trying to catch your breath, this is what Chef Mimi is up to. She runs a boutique catering company that has pivoted to online events. She is presiding over a Black Food and Wine, the Oakland Black Food and Wine Experience that is scaling. She's the corporate spokesperson for Impossible Burger. And wait, there's one more thing I forgot. What is it?
Bringing it to the table.
She's the mastermind behind a cooking show called Bringing It to the Table, which is highlighting African-American chefs in like a food cooking competition show. She's a total rock star. We're super lucky and super blessed that you decided to show up today. If you want to learn a little bit more about what Chef Mimi is up to, come and join us on Friday nights. Thank you. Such a blast to cook with you, and we will talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
Hey,